Om Kayena vacha manasyendrayirva Bhutyatmanava prakriti swabhava Karomi adyat Sakalam paresma Narayanayeeti samarpayami Narayanayeeti samarpayami.
Dear Seeker of Truth, welcome. In this series of videos we are going to talk about Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, of divine love, of God realization. So we are going to talk about the Narada Bhakti Sutras, a beautiful work attributed to sage Narada that talks about in full length of the path of devotion. May you all find inspiration in this work. May you all find meaning and purpose in your spiritual quest through these words. This kind of work, these words, these sutras, they bring light and they open the door to the life of the real quest for liberation. May you also find divine love in your heart. Moving on the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Second Sutra, definition of Bhakti. So it goes, that devotion is of the nature of supreme love of God. So this devotion that we are talking about is of the nature of the supreme love of God, ultimate love for God, pure love for God. There's no selfish motives in this love for God. It is pure. So this is the nature of this devotion, this highest devotion. So, first of all, there's no expectations in this love. It is love alone, love for God alone. There's nothing that the devotee wants from God, but God himself. So it is very common when impurities are there to love God and expect something in return, either improvement of life, improvement of certain circumstances. That is impure love. That devotion, that highest devotion, is pure, free from all expectations. It is for love for God alone, as an end, not God as a means. There is no fear also. In this ultimate devotion, there's absolutely no fear of God. No fear of any retribution. It is pure. In adversity, is always seen for the best. So whatever is happening, that it is considered to be adverse conditions, difficult conditions, the outlook of the devotee is always that those circumstances are for the best, because God is a notion of love, of prema. And whatever he is giving to the devotee, it is for his highest good. So circumstances are not seen as good or bad. They are seen as mercy from God. Despite the intensity, despite the difficulties, they are what is needed. And God is doing the best in my own interest. So this is an exclusive love for God. There's nothing else. So the devotee sees God in everywhere, everything, everyone. But while there's separation, he exclusively devotes himself to God. Then he sees God everywhere. His love is exclusive to God. He is completely attached to God. The devotee is completely attached to God. So in other paths, attachment is not good. But in Bhakti Yoga, attachment for God is very good because God is the ultimate. So attachment for the ultimate takes you to the ultimate. So this attachment is good. So attachment for God is there at its highest. No attraction or love for any objects of this world. At this level, of course, if it is exclusive love for God, there's no attachments for anything from this world apart from God. He is absolutely free from mundane desires. At this level, the devotee has already undergone whatever was needed and he's got himself purified. So there are no more mundane desires. He has no desires for enjoyment of the next world. Sometimes it is the case, probably more in the East than the West, but there's this idea of after the death of the body, the enjoyment of good actions, good deeds in the highest heavens. So at this level, there's no desire for any such things. He doesn't want even mukti. This is very important because in all other disciplines, mukti is like the ultimate attachment which is kept almost until the end. But the devotee doesn't even want mukti. He doesn't want liberation. He just wants to be able to continuously love God. That he doesn't forget love God for 1 second. That he may continue to enjoy this love for God. So not even the desire for liberation is there. Liberation is given, but it's not wanted, much less asked. So supreme love doesn't seek return rewards. Love itself is the ultimate reward. This ultimate love, ultimate devotion. Very different from human love. It is bliss overflowing, just overflowing. The lover enjoys the loving. So that's the reward in itself. Because to be able to experience these impurities of the need for reward, this must have already gone. The lover wants his beloved alone. He wants only God. He doesn't want anything else. So, love development. So first arises faith. Faith in God. It's the medium to establish the connection and to work on that love, to hold on to that love, having the faith in God. Then follows attraction. Attraction follows after faith. Then adoration, worshipping God in directly or in his many names and forms. Adoration leads to suppression of mundane desires, because that adoration deviates your attention, starts focusing it completely into God, removing it from mundane desires, so they get suppressed a little bit. Results in single-mindedness and satisfaction, worshiping God. Then grows attachment and supreme love for God. So in this highest devotion, all attraction from sense objects, everything has been transferred into God. And this leads the devotee to eternal union with his beloved and culminates in oneness. The most beautiful experience that can ever be. So bhakti is divided in two kinds, aparabhakti and parabhakti. Aparabhakti is the first stage or initial stage of an aspirant following the path of bhakti. The relation between the devotee and the Lord is very well described by Hanuman, one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. This is very beautiful. Hanuman says, "When I think of myself as an embodied being, I am your servant. When I think of myself as an individual soul, I am part of you. But when I realize I'm Atman, I am one with you. This is my firm conviction." This is Hanuman's experience, direct experience. And this is very beautiful because at all levels it is constant communion with God, an ultimate oneness with God. This is what this pure bhakti leads to. So usually there's certain qualities, luminous qualities in the heart, but then there's all the rest there. So that which must be eradicated from the heart, it is hatred, jealousy, lust, anger, and greed. This is a burden to the heart. It doesn't let the heart shine to its fullest, keeps the heart dark. So while there's these hatred, jealousy, lust, anger, greed, love will not be pure. So this needs to be eradicated from the heart. So in the case of the devotee of the Lord, he has a devotee, the one who has reached this highest devotion. He has eradicated all of these thorns from the heart. Only purity, pure love for God remains there. So devotion to God is non-sectarian. It goes beyond sects, beliefs, religions. So the devotee of God doesn't need a religion. He establishes his relationship directly with God. It can be done through a religion. It doesn't matter. What matters is direct relationship with God. In Paraprema Rupa, there is no trace of selfishness or egoism or any motive or fear in this kind of supreme love. So this is the most pure form of love for God. So emotion, fanaticism shouldn't be mistaken with devotion for God, because these are all conditioned to idealisms, beliefs, and not really direct love for God. It is loving God for ideals. These emotionalisms, this is very interesting, because there are many sensitive seekers that think of God once in a while, establish that connection a little bit, and it's a little bit easy for them. So they feel those higher vibrations, and it's very delightful. They are very delighting in nature. But it's like dipping your feet in the water, but not diving in and coming out again. Just dipping the feet, coming out again. Just to feel those emotions agitated. So only devotion for God remains. If it is emotionalism, fanaticism, if it is conditional love, eventually it stops when the fruits are not received. So many times the devotee, the seeker, which is devoting himself, goes through a lot of tests. So things they become difficult. If there are desires lurking in the mind, they are not satisfied, or even the opposite comes. And this is opportunity to see if these desires, these hidden desires, are recognized and put aside, or if this love ends, and either it purifies or it ends. So the various objects used by devotees in worship. A personal God, either Vishnu or Shiva or any other manifestation that has, okay, comes next, an idol or an image of the personal God, which will remind him of the personal God. So God transcends images and forms, but it can be used, forms, to represent God, so that it reminds you of God constantly, so that you can establish a relation with God. So this is what these idols and images are for. So choosing an image of God which your heart feels attraction to is the starting point, so that you can start establishing that relationship. Or you can choose an avatar, a God's incarnation, like Lord Rama or Vishnu or others. And you can establish that relationship with one of the Lord's avatars. The Guru or one's spiritual guide, because the Guru or spiritual guide, if he is a God-realized being, then he is an instrument of God. So it is God himself. Humanity in general, you can look at humanity in general as God everywhere. So for those who prefer this term, humanity as God, sometimes it's because it's easier for the ego to take it, because they have difficulties with devotion. But looking at humanity as God means that everyone you come in contact with is God. So if it is bringing you a good thing, it is God's blessing. If it is bringing you a bad thing, it is God's blessing. So this is what it means to look at humanity in general as God. Everyone you come in contact is God. The whole world, Vishvarupa, conceived as the manifestation of the Supreme Being, so not just humanity. The whole world, all manifestation as God, so as an object of worship. So this goes far beyond looking at others as God, but looking at everything, at nature, animals, everything as a manifestation of God. And the Antaryamin, or the inner ruler or controller of all objects in the world. So this inner ruler, that spark of God which is inside, which is in the intimate, let's call it like this, as the object of worship, or one's own Atman. So the soul, the Atman, is a speck of God, so it is God itself. So from the first one, a personal God, to one's own Atman, devotion has to evolve a lot, because in the beginning is easier for the prideful to look at one's own Atman as God. Let me worship this. But this will not bring much result. And especially if there's a problem, a difficulty with dealing with devotion to a personal God. Usually if pride is too big, it's difficult to take in this. So from the most personal to the more impersonal aspect of God, devotion has to evolve a lot. So third sutra, and devotion is of the nature of nectar. Nectar in this case is termed as Amrita, the nectar of immortality. And devotion is of the nature of Amrita, is of the nature of immortality. So when you reach this highest level of devotion, this is God realization, this is the ultimate, the highest. This is the nectar of immortality. It's its nature. So the devotee who reaches this level of devotion is free from the cycle of birth and death. And he lives constantly in the presence of God. We will elaborate this better as we go on. But the devotee does not lose his God. Contrary to other paths of spirituality, where the individual dies and dissolves into the ocean of consciousness and becomes consciousness. In this case, the devotee is preserved and he continues to enjoy the love for God, even as attaining immortality. Nitya Sukha, eternal bliss, immortality, Paramashanti, supreme peace, Nitya Tripti, eternal satisfaction, Akhanda Sukha, unbroken joy, can only be had in God, nothing else. And this is the most intimate heart's desire. Okay.
Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhushka sakha tvameva, Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva.